Welcome to the webinar series titled How to Thrive in the Supply Chain Revolution. My name is Josh Shanani, partner in charge of the Manufacturing and Distribution Group at Sachs LLP. Sachs is a multidisciplinary accounting, tax, and advisory firm headquartered in Clifton, New Jersey, and the M&D industry is the biggest vertical we serve. We're also one of the top 10 fastest growing firms in the country, as identified by Accounting Today, and recognized as a top 5 all-growth firm in the Northeast by Inside Public Accounting. I have the pleasure of being joined by Sandy Vosk, founder and CEO of Advantage Technology Solutions, a leading technology provider in the warehouse and logistics industry. Sandy is also the co-founder of the Supply Chain Experts Group. Supply Chain Experts Group is a tri-state networking group of individuals who service all aspects of the supply chain, designed to share industry knowledge and create opportunities for one another. Ongoing technological advances and increasing customer demands are transforming the supply chain industry at an unprecedented pace. To be successful in this rapidly changing business environment, your company will need to consider new and better ways to meet customer requirements and allocate the right people and resources quickly, efficiently, and profitably. Sachs's manufacturing and distribution practice has joined forces with Advantage Technology Solutions to provide you essential, need-to-know insights from industry experts on technology and the supply chain revolution. We hope to help you expand your customer base, enhance your revenue stream, and optimize the operational efficiency, profitability, and security of your business. Throughout these webinars, we will be joined by other supply chain experts who will bring knowledge, expertise, and experience to the topics presented. For more information about these webinars, please go to www.sacsllp.com, news and event page for the full details and registration links. Today's presentation, e-commerce. Without further ado, let's jump right into the reason we're all here today. I'd like to introduce my esteemed colleagues sitting to my right and left. First, my name, Josh Shanani, partner in charge, manufacturing distribution practice at Sachs LLP. I'm pleased to be joined by John Cosgrove. John is the founder and president of Atlantic Handling Systems, a leading materials handling solution provider. John has over 40 years of experience in the material handling and supply chain industries and has served as past president of the Material Handling Equipment Distributors Association. And I'm also proud to be joined by Sandy Vosk. Sandy, as I mentioned before, is the founder and CEO of Advantage Technology Solutions. ATS works with supply chain companies to leverage technology, improving profitability, operational efficiency, and the ability to meet changing customer demands. Sandy has earned a reputation across the supply chain industry as an exceptional strategic partner, problem solver, and thought leader. Sandy, take it away.
Thanks, Josh. It's a sincere pleasure to be with you and John today. We're living at an amazing time, a supply chain revolution driven by the exponential growth in technology and e-commerce. There's no way to cover e-commerce in a short webinar, but here's what we intend to review today. As you look at the topics, what I really want to bring across is people matter most, especially today with the significant labor shortage in the supply chain industry. I really like the way Bob Biesterfield, new CEO of C.H. Robinson Worldwide, stated his vision recently. Technology plays a huge part in our transformation, but our focus is not just on developing tech. We think that our secret sauce is how we bring together innovation to improve process and fuel our people so that they can focus on the meaningful work that they want to do to add value to our clients and carriers. Couldn't say it any better. That's what it's about. Any chart that you see about e-commerce continues to show exponential growth. These statistics are from global e-commerce statistics and trends from a recent article I read, but what's really apparent is that there's growth all over the world. Obviously, China and the United States are leading this with projections over the next 4 years of 70% growth for China, over 45% growth for the United States, followed by France, Australia, Russia. It's really global experience. And this has created tremendous opportunities and challenges for everyone. And it's all about how you look at it. There are opportunities and there are challenges created by this revolution. And why invest in technology now? Josh and I were talking about some of the tax benefits associated today that encourage investment in technology, immediate depreciation benefits, the ability, if done correctly, to minimize current and future labor costs, ability, if done correctly, to minimize tariffs. It makes also the company more attractive for sale down the road, excuse me, if that's your intention. The other issue is labor shortages will be worsened while the cost of labor is also increasing. So technology is both an enabler and it's a disruptor, but it's how you choose to act and interpret it. We continue to create and integrate new powerful technologies that will drastically impact every person in every industry that exists today, as well as create brand new industries and markets in the future. Our goal is to help you maximize your opportunities and develop plans which will minimize the challenges. E-commerce 101 seems pretty simple. Take orders, dropped into a software system, a pick ticket's created, someone picks it from inventory, it's shipped, you get some notification, goes on a truck, and it gets delivered. No big deal, right?
It looks pretty simple. You know,
yeah, very
really
simple.
A need for all that technology?
Trust me, it's not simple at all, but it's compounded by the fact that everything keeps changing faster and faster. So this is from a recent webinar. John as well knows this, knows the companies, and these are the top trends in terms of what are the challenges facing the industry today. And it's really about the top three in my mind: fulfilling orders, reducing errors, and obtaining enough labor, especially in the current market. You might as well look at the next two as well, because they affect everybody in the industry.
Sandy, in your experience, right, and I'm looking at reducing errors in order processing, improve order accuracy. What percentage in your experience of orders come back?
Well, this varies, but you know, reverse logistics, it returns, everything's challenging enough, and I'm really glad you mentioned it. Returns and reverse logistics takes it to a whole other level. So, in fact, even in metrics, we can talk about that later, how a company, it's not just about top line, it's bottom line. And bottom line is affected by returns. John, did you want to say something?
Sandy, I'm going to talk about that a little bit later, but it's pretty much well known that 25% of all women's clothing that is shipped out under e-commerce comes back into the warehouse. So, you know, so many companies have policies where they take stuff back, and it's a whole new venture in a warehouse now. How do we deal with the returns?
And that cannot be done if you want to survive and scale on labor alone. It requires innovation. And especially when it relates to the bottlenecks that are affecting everyone. You know, let's start at the top two: inventory management and order fulfillment, which is John and our world. I can give a seminar on this topic. First, a lot depends on what kind of product your company is making, distributing, storing, shipping, and selling. For some of you, this involves food, medicine, and other products that require lot tracking, where and when it was produced. The best solutions begin with a well-designed warehouse, combined with quality material handling equipment and a strong warehouse management system to support your business. Avoiding bottlenecks requires digital communication with your customers, real-time scanning, and a combination of planning, monitoring, and execution. If that's not in place, the third bullet can kill you. Many companies do not have service-level agreements in place with their customers today and to meet their expectations. And even those that do, if something changes it becomes almost impossible to meet them. So what's the industry impact? This is a paradigm shift in terms of orders, shipping, and returns. It affects everything in terms of the infrastructure and systems you have today, and it dwarfs anything we've experienced before, and will force every executive in the supply chain industry to look at their companies differently. How does or will this impact you? How will it affect your challenges and decisions? Hopefully some of this today will help. As I said, it's a paradigm shift. So how do you, in these specific ways, how do you process your orders? Some companies that I deal with, Josh, still haven't implemented EDI. They're still taking information by paper. So EDI is level one, but now everybody's entering e-commerce orders in shopping carts. So you have to be able to connect to all these shopping carts. Connecting would be, okay, I could connect to this one and this one, but how do you keep up with all the change? They all keep changing. Same thing.
That is a good question, Sandy. How do you keep up with the change?
Awesome. With this picture is really representative of software that serves multi-purpose. Sometimes it's called middleware, but it's software even on the fulfillment side that connects to all the carriers, that keeps up with all those changes for you. So you don't need to see, in this case, a connection with UPS, connection with FedEx. And they're changing all the time. Their costs are changing. The rules are changing as to what size boxes, how much dead air. These are costs that affect every business, and you need to control those costs through technology.
So if I'm a business and I only have, and every business has a budget, right? They know how profitable they are. They know what kind of reserve they have. If I have whatever, if I'm a business and I've set aside a budget, what am I attacking first here? What's most important?
That's not an easy question to answer, and it's different for every company. And I'll get to that a little later, if you'll hold that question, because it's really about approach.
Sandy, I think what's happening is that this paradigm shift, e-commerce has exploded, but it still isn't the major part of a lot of our customers' business. They're still shipping mass merchandisers when you talked about EDI and having to do ASN, and it's totally opposite of what the e-commerce business is for them. So now they're working at cross purposes, so they have to prepare to build their warehouses to do both.
Absolutely. They're trying to figure this out on top for most, not all. Some are starting out in this space, but some, and this is where John and I both go in, mostly are infrastructures that are now trying to take on this new paradigm shift. So one of the things that, for a lot of companies, we all know about the Amazon effect, continuously setting the bar for ever-increasing customer expectations. What most people don't know is Amazon still operates like a startup company. They have 14 core business rules. Number one is customer obsession. And so how do you keep up with that? How do you keep up with, prime type deliveries? Well, you could store all your products at Amazon, actually fulfill them by Amazon, have them handle all your prime orders. Or you can now do this yourself, either as a self-fulfilled prime, if you have the capability to handle it in your own company, or many today are outsourcing this to third-party logistics companies who are optimally set up for the e-commerce world. What's the best choice for you? Well, there are greater margins for self-fulfilled prime, but penalties if you don't deliver to Amazon standards. John, what's your thought on that?
Well, I think that, Amazon has taken the distribution world by storm. It's someone to be reckoned with, and I think each individual customer has to evaluate how they're doing things and whether they can do that, whether they can do it themselves quicker, cheaper, and faster. And if not, they could reach out to Amazon or 3PLs. That's really what's happening within the market today.
That's a great segue. So what are the keys to success in figuring that out? I found over the years, and there's a great deal of research to validate this, that a great many enterprise projects fail. And when they do, it's because one of these 5 factors haven't been addressed. I've also been fortunate enough to lead and be involved in many successful projects over the last 3 decades, and it can validate that these are the keys to success. But how do you define success? For ATS, it's implementing projects on time, on budget, and with great customer satisfaction, yours and your clients. And in this regard, from every aspect, from planning through execution, what's critical is to involve a cross-functional team. This can't be made just by IT, just by the executive, just by operations. After all these years, I'm more humble than ever because of the pace of change. I know what I know what I don't, and never confuse the two. It's one of the reasons I collaborate with folks like Josh and John. Excuse me. I strongly suggest that you do what we do, and that's utilize trusted advisors to fill the gaps in your knowledge and capabilities. The systems on this chart are no longer distinct. More and more vendors are offering solutions that combine functionality, and everything is changing faster and faster. For many of you, determining which emerging technologies can enhance your business is a strategic imperative and critical investment. It's not a question of software versus hardware, but which, in combination, make the most sense for you. Making the right decision requires a cross-functional team, and the costs, time, and resources required in making a flawless transition to a new platform and achieving a good, reasonable ROI cannot be minimized. Making a bad decision can not only be costly, but sometimes even catastrophic in terms of potential impact to your customers and employees. So I focus predominantly on enterprise software, client integration, and radio frequency mobile solutions. Now it's my pleasure to turn it over to my colleague, John Cosgrove, an expert in material handling and warehouse control systems.
Thank you, Sandy. Today I'm here to speak about the integration of the hardware components associated with the material handling system. These type systems are one of the many available, but based on your individual needs, some or all of this may work for you. Many of the things I speak about today will help you pick orders faster and in turn ship more orders. As we all know, our customers' demands are driving us to ship faster, charge them less, and make sure their orders ship correct. There are several critical impact factors that pave the road ahead with obstacles. I realize that you're all aware of many of them. The labor shortage, increased cost of labor, the $15 minimum wage, and not enough skilled workers. E-commerce is changing our world rapidly, and we will have to be ready to meet and exceed its demands. I recently listened to a speaker who simply said, we must change or die, and that automation can provide the tools to meet the new demands of the supply chain. With that said, here are some of the options that are available to you to help increase productivity. One of the most efficient ways to handle e-commerce orders is to build a pick module. A pick module will let you fulfill multiple SKU customer shipments in a timely and accurate manner. This is achieved by building a combination of dynamic rack storage systems with conveyors or other flow rack components. You can expect enhanced productivity and cost savings with increased accuracy. Advantages to creating a pick module include incorporating a multi-level system that enables superior space utilization, allows for dense product storage, and reduces material handling. Signs that a pick module system is right for you include the need for pallet building, where multiple cases of product are being repalletized to ship to a different location, or kitting, where multiple small parts are being assembled to make one complete part in another area of the facility, or is being packed for shipping. In other words, it's an ideal solution for broken pallet or broken carton order fulfillment, such as e-commerce orders. Some industries utilizing pick modules include food, retail, specialty distribution, electronics, parts manufacturers, drug companies, 3PLs, and e-commerce fulfillment. Oftentimes, companies are worried about the floor space the pick module takes up, and they may not have enough SKUs to need to fill a second level. They need to have more storage for full pallets. We can build pushback rack on the top of the first level of the pick module and provide high-density racking, as pictured in this picture on top. We can do multiple levels of this depending on the height of your building and the weight capacity of your pallets. This drawing shows a 4-level high pick module. Many of our customers are using all of their cube in building this type of module. If you notice, it's a traditional type pick module with full rack on both sides and a tri-width conveyor down the middle. The conveyor in the middle is powered, and the 2 conveyor sections on each side are gravity. Many of our customers are picking multiple orders out of this module. Some may be picking one entire level as e-commerce, and the others may be for mass merchandisers that might require special labels or tags on the product, such as Walmart. When you look at the drawing, you will see some levels have carton flow racking, while others have pallet flow. We use the pallet flow where the 80-20 rule applies. That's where you're doing 80% of your business with 20% of your product. If you're picking so many cases of an SKU, it isn't productive loading them in one at a time into the carton flow rack. And if you look at this specific drawing, you can see there's 2 blue conveyors that hang from the first level and the top level. Those are trash conveyors that take the cardboard right out to the baler and dumpsters. We do that. We only have 2 because we have holes in the floor on the other levels where we actually have the hole underneath the conveyor and they can push the box. That saves you lots of money as far as taking cardboard out to the dumpster, and you get a big return on investment from the whole pick module then. Pick the light is an accessory that can be added to a pick module. When the picker scans the pick ticket, it will light up the lights in their zone and tell them how many items to pick. The feature brings your accuracy to about 99%. When incorporated with zone picking, it increases productivity and throughput. Zone picking is really a pick and pass operation. The picker places the carton on the gravity conveyor and pushes it down through the pick module as the work is complete. If the order is complete, the picker puts it on the power conveyor that takes it to shipping. Print and apply, if you have the need to put any type of label or UCC 128 on a carton, we can do this automatically. The picture you see shows a cosmetic company that was bringing in temporary employees to put UCC 128 labels on boxes. They could do them manually 600 boxes a day. This system eliminated all the temporary employees and does 5,000 cases a day, creating a large ROI for our customers. An inline scale, we can weigh your product at a speed up to 200 feet per minute. Your WMS provides, which Sandy works with the WMS providers, will provide the weight of all your products so that we can use a dimensioner or cubiscan and figure out what exact carton to use on each shipment. When they come down the lane, we can weigh them and make sure that they're within tolerance. If they're not, we send them down a reject lane to be checked if it isn't right. This adds more verification that our orders are correct. A carton sealer can be used to seal the cartons that between 10 to 15 cases a minute can be done, depending on the box size. They can have a large return on investment instead of people using tape guns at packing stations. Packing stations are where the orders can be checked and manifested before shipping. After the packages leave the packing stations, they can be sent to shipping. There are many different types of sortation systems available that can sort by carriers. The order is transported to a conveyor and inducted into a loop, which means if a package has come through shipping and a lane hasn't been assigned, it will loop around until one is ready. A 30-degree sortation divert usually is used with UPS, FedEx, and United States Postal shipments. This specific sorter is called a shoe sorter. If you look to the right and left, there are plastic shoes, we call them, and they can sort up to 200 packages per minute. Pictured here are 2 types. Pictured here is a 90-degree narrow belt sorter. We can use this for shipping and bringing goods back into the warehouse. It's what Sandy talked about before on returns. When people have 25% of women's clothing coming back, they have to sort them by size, color, style, and size. As long as there's a barcode that we can read through a bidirectional scanner, we can sort those items and have them put back into the warehouse in a uniform fashion. We also use this sorter to sort orders for trucking, 90-degree diverts, and trucking and LTL shipments. Pictured here are two types of conveyors used for live loading. One is an extendable belt conveyor on the left that can transverse over 3 dock doors. That extendable conveyor has a belt on it that will extend 40 feet into a trailer and live load. You can live load boxes into the trailer. The conveyor on the right is an extendable accordion type conveyor that you see in many warehouses. You can get that motorized or not, and it can extend 40 feet into a trailer and be loaded.
You know, John, before we leave this, one of the things that, you know, where our worlds collide is every facility is different. Every company is different. Sometimes I'll go to a 3PL, they can have 6 warehouses. There's 6 unique warehouses. Very rarely are they all designed the same. So is this fixed or flexible? How do you approach it?
It's very flexible, and where our worlds really collide is that my hardware, we supply controls for the conveyors and that type of thing, but your part of the package, the WMS, the warehouse management, supplies the intelligence, which can give you the biggest return on your investment and help you to meet your customers' needs.
I also noticed in your drawing, you had folks with handheld scanners. And that's also, you know, how and where you implement scanning technology, whether it's conveyors or for workers, is unique. And it depends on whether you're dealing with truck doors, rail car doors, the specific function that you're dealing with as well.
Well, today we talked about, you know, you build pallets. What happens is you'll be going through, you might have a pick module, but then you're picking full case picks off an order picker down pallet rack that might be 35, 40 foot high. You're picking that and putting that on one pallet, and then you're building another pallet that's coming out of the pick module, but at the end, you have to scan those and have a WMS that can marry them together so you can ship that order out complete.
That's great. Josh, you know if we had any questions?
Sure. So, are there, question one for John and Sandy, and I'll interject too. You know, are there standard industry metrics to measure success?
I would say, you know, first of all, I love this chart because a lot of companies I come in to dealing with don't have strong key performance indicators, or they have too many, or they have too little. Or let's just take the first one, on-time delivery. What's your definition of on-time delivery may be different than my definition, may be different than John's, may be different than our clients. So, yeah, I love the old adage, you can't manage what you don't measure. So whatever statistics and metrics are incorporated, it's important to look at those that you have now and then the impact of change. And this is where I don't see a lot of companies really effectively tracking the reverse logistics, the returns that you mentioned before.
Yeah, Josh, one of the things that's happened is even though we sell a lot of hardware, like the Pick the Light system has its own software with it. So within that software, they can measure how many orders a day a picker picks, what the accuracy is on that, how it's shipped, that type of thing. So it's more and more data, as Sandy says, that can be collected and it makes us more efficient.
And on the software side, just make 1 second, Josh, there are now incorporated in those systems dashboard and metric functionality where automatically it's capturing on a daily basis based on the workflow and showing you how you're keeping up with your orders, et cetera. But I think you want to say something.
Yeah, I did, and it is interesting to me that the first and on-time delivery, 49%, not necessarily a financial statistic. However, biggest impact, right? And all of our businesses, what keeps us here, what keeps us going forward is client satisfaction, right? And it's client service, and on-time delivery is the number one reason. If it's not 1A, it's 1B as to why people stay.
I think a lot of our clients have found out if they can't do it, that whoever they're doing it for will find someone else, whether it's the consumer, whether they're doing a distribution for someone else, they're going to go find someone else who can.
Right.
So, that's the challenge that we're presented right now.
Right. And one that I like on here, and I don't usually see it, but, a great mentor of mine taught me a long time ago, a gentleman by the name of Harry Lay, who built most of the Walmart, Sam's Clubs in this country, that it's not about top line, it's about bottom line, and therefore it's profit. So as you're looking about managing change, so many people are just focused on the expense side of the equation, the costs associated of investing in hardware, software, people, but it's about the return on the investment and therefore the profit today, because nothing's staying the same. Costs are increasing, everything's increasing.
Much of this is like what's happened years past in Europe. In Europe, they have a labor shortage as far as, people who want to work in warehouses, and so what they've done over the years is they've automated because they paid their employees. Now with the $15 an hour rollout, people are going to have to invest more in automation to make sure that they're going to get the return on investment, because, people are a huge investment, as you can tell them.
Sure, and Sandy, just to jump onto the point you made before, is that you're right, it is about bottom line. I think many times, and we see it in our world, people use top line revenue as a means to benchmark themselves against others, right? So, even in my client base, some of my most profitable clients have $5 to $10 million of sales, not necessarily $100 million of sales, because they do it right, they do it efficiently, and they invest where they need to.
Many of the local, old, family businesses here for years, what they would do is just hire people. They'd throw people at it to ship faster, to do these things. But now, with the cost of labor going up and the labor shortage, it's going to be more and more difficult.
Do you have any other questions?
We do. I'm bombarded with software and hardware vendors telling me they can solve all my challenges. How do I determine what's best for me?
I think there is no one answer for that, and I know how I approach it with companies, and that's to always begin with first understanding your own requirements. Every vendor's going to promise you they're the answer, but if you don't really know where you are, what you need, and get some help in clarifying that, you're doomed. So I begin with helping companies get an assessment of where they are from all angles, a 360-degree view, that cross-functional view. Then you could start looking at which software and hardware companies might solve your problem. John, how would you address it?
What I would say, if I can leave, people who are listening to the webinar with anything, it's to make sure that you get together with your hardware and technology integrators, a description of operation, a master plan, so to speak, and you assign responsibilities of all functions within the process, from order entry to shipping. Because, I at one time did a design for a warehouse in Long Island City, New York. We built a beautiful system. They had a great warehouse management system. And at the end of the line, because Long Island City had tremendous traffic problems, people loading in the streets, they couldn't get the trucking in to get the stuff out the door. So, you really have to take a look at all aspects of what's going on.
And I guess I have a follow-up question for the both of you then, because like you said in the list you had up there before, there's so much technology and it affects so many things. As a business owner, as a CFO, sitting with my owner saying, we have these issues, how do I prioritize what's most important?
That's where you need Sandy. Because what Sandy does is he comes in, he doesn't sell you a product, he doesn't sell you a WMS, he comes in and consults with you and tells you, this is what's available out in the marketplace. Not only that, he helps you choose a vendor, and then he stays with you and holds your hand while you implement, because while you implement, anyone who's implemented knows that it sometimes can be a little bit cumbersome, and you need someone with great experience like him to help you.
Thank you, John. Sandy, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, I would go back to, it's about the people. It's not about the technology, it's about managing change. And therefore, that's about investing in your people, understanding what they're doing today, what they need to do to be more effective, not forcing that on them, including them. So I think that's all I have to say. Josh, any closing comments?
Yeah, my thought is this. It's absent having an environment of continuous improvement. most businesses today will not be here 5 years from now, 10 years from now. So what's the old adage? If you fail to plan, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. I think when you're talking about a topic like this, it speaks volumes. So in closing, I want to thank Sandy and I want to thank John for their time today. Really a lot of valuable information. For more information about the webinar series, please visit www.sacsllp.com, news and event page for full details and registration links. Thank you.